Recording in progress.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Profits at Noon. It is noon Eastern on the hour. We're going to get started in just a minute here. We've just opened things up, give everyone a chance to get in and get settled. Excellent. I'm having a persistent issue with Zoom with my camera this week. So I do apologize. I'm off camera again here today. We'll have to take a look at this ahead of tomorrow's session and see what Zoom, what its gripe is with this setting. But I hope everybody's doing well, having a great week so far. Chad, Charlotte, Hal, Jackie, and Theo, it's great to see you again, as always. Great. If you're joining us over on YouTube, we'll just give you a quick shout out. Welcome. All right, it is 1 minute after the hour here, so let's go ahead and start firing things up. So welcome everybody to today's edition of Profits at Noon. I know we have some good familiar faces here. If by chance you are new to these sessions, just a quick reminder, we are live 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at noon Eastern time. My name is Nate. Typically, I am on camera, as mentioned right at the beginning of this session. Zoom has given us some grief with our cameras here today, so we're just going to focus on the screen share. But my name is Nate, and I co-host these sessions with our good friend Richard Krugel, who is in the house waiting in the wings now. For a quick synopsis of what we're getting into today, if you are new to these events, Profits at Noon is where we show you what we call our levels to lock. These are the levels that we are stalking, and we're going to do our best to steer you clear of any market traps or news bombs that could be waiting along the way. So of course we do encourage you to join us for follow-up sessions so we can see these levels, this analysis play out. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and bring Richard Krugel in, and I will just quickly note, however, we have a very special guest in the house today. One Craig Hill is going to be joining us in a few minutes here. So as soon as Richard is done with that analysis for today, he's going to jet, but Craig is going to take over. He's going to share the latest updates with his Robot Lab portfolio, and we will of course make plenty of time for any Q&A. So don't be shy, fire away there in the chat if you have any questions throughout the presentation today. And with that said, let's jump right in. Mr. Richard Krugel, won't you step in and get us started with our levels to lock today?
I sure will. Thanks very much, Nate, and welcome everyone. Hope you're all having a great Wednesday this far. Like Nathan said, directly after me, we'll have Craig from Robot Lab doing his thing for you guys. I've got a bit of a mini emergency at home, so I'll have to duck immediately after my presentation. But in any case, I'll do my best to go through everything as I usually do. Right, again, before we do get started, as always, just a quick note that all information in today's session is provided for educational purposes only, and it's not an offer or recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. All right, let me just get rid of that screen quick. All right, hope you can see my screen okay. As always, we'll be going through the ES, the NASDAQ, the WAM, Russell, gold, and crude oil using my analysis techniques, which is a blend of pattern analysis, market geometry, some wave counts in there, and also very importantly, our levels to lock. Not really that much of an update today. I was expecting a bit more of a move here on the ES after the CPA data came out. It was at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's the first time since early 2021 that figure actually printed below 5%. I think it came in at 4.9%. So, yeah, this was sort of almost in line with expectations. So, as Wall Street would probably put it, they're probably expecting that the Fed will still leave the door open to not raise interest rates during the next meeting in June, which could be probably good for the stock market as a whole. But that being said, we've been counting a sequence higher in all of these markets, except for crude oil, which has been coming down pretty hard after a 5-wave sequence. That, regardless of what happens, if price does move high, I'm still expecting here on the ES a potential break above these highs as set towards the end of April. Again, last week, Thursday, just a quick recap for those that do not or did not watch that session of Profits at Noon. We've been following the sequence to the upside, where I've said this first move to the upside here since 13th of March was a potential first wave. We had a second wave correction. This first wave potentially tracing out as a leading diagonal. Then we either had a third wave here, and I was like moving this around all over the show. And then last week, Thursday, I spent quite some time on the ES and mentioned that we potentially were seeing a near end of a expanding triangle, or some might call it a megaphone pattern, and that we potentially could see a hard and fast sharp move and reversal back to the upside. And that was sort of around about here, I think it was. When price was sort of at these lows that I've mentioned that, and you know, expectations worked out pretty damn well, actually. So I'm still seeing this as potentially the end of a fourth wave correction of an expanding triangle, and that price might head higher for that final fifth wave. And I'm not saying final fifth wave like in a bigger picture, and we're going to see one hell of a move lower, but potentially just a correction that could retrace a decent portion of the sequence to the upside. So that's still the expectations, but you know, I can't really say this is an expanding triangle until price confirms that. And the only way that that's going to happen if price would confirm a break or break above, not confirm, breaks above this previous high that was set on 30th of April. That would then say this was the end of an expanding triangle. So yeah, price did move slightly higher, probably during that CPI data that came out. You know, it broke above today's pivot point at 4,100. What was that? 30, almost 4,140. Above R1, above R2, it pretty much touched today's projected range highs, which is why we quite like using this level to lock as well quite often, and found resistance at 4,174. And it's now moving lower again. So not really a lot of fireworks. Still sort of a bit of a slightly ranging market, if that's the right word to use. But my expectations is still that price could hit a higher and then break these highs. And then that will then definitely confirm that this was an expanding triangle. Wait for a fifth wave, could extend. I don't know. We'll have to figure out where that could extend to, and then have the deeper correction. Right, so that's it for the ES. On the NASDAQ, however, price again printing new highs for this year. A bit more action on the NASDAQ. Price during that CPI data broke above today's pivot point at 13,286. Blasted through R1 and has now sort of pipped the R2, a bit of a confluence between today's R2 and today's projected range high, around about 13,382 and 3/4, and struggle to stay above it. It's currently moving lower again, with the NASDAQ making new highs. Yeah, also difficult to say, is this the end of a five-wave sequence? I don't think so. The ES is still potentially going to do that. Obviously, they're not the same indices, but I'm still expecting the ES to move higher. The NASDAQ, however, on the other side, you know, although it broke below this upward sloping median line, sorry, this red one that I have on my chart here, that I've had on my chart, when was it? Since March, actually. You could see how well these angular support and resistance lines worked. Even though price broke below it, it retested it. It was sort of riding it from the upside, broke below it, retested it, and it's almost nearly pulled back towards it again. So I think if price would make it above today's projected range high, we could see a move. I'm not sure if that will happen today or tomorrow, but towards this median line again, which is at today's current candle, and it's looking at the 4-hour chart around 13,465. Also very close to today's high deviation on that projection, around about the same level. Also have R3 at 13,479. So that's definitely an area price could still move towards. Don't know if it's got a legs to do that today, but yeah, it's all about watching price action again. It is sort of moving a little bit lower. I think if price, if this is just a correction, makes its way back up again above this projected range highs, that we potentially see a flush back to that median line and those levels I just mentioned. All right, and then we have, the YM. Still fascinated by the YM on the market geometry side. Same thing with gold, which we'll look at in just a while. But even this pitchfork, and this is on the shift setting that I've drawn here on the YM, also around about, when was it, towards the end of March. Price has really been respecting these angles very, very well. We've had the biggest sort of decline since price reached this upper, what we call a red warning lines. Quite often it catches the extremities of moves, or not catches it, I would say, but it's quite often where price, when that levels reaches, what I'm trying to say is when you get sort of a very strong correction to the downside. It was a correction because price moved obviously lower. Where did it find support? At a center median line again, moved all the way back, just put those previous highs. And then we had this recent strong wave moved lower, a little bit of support at the center median line, and it did not break below. Well, it did, but it didn't close below the lower median line. Where did it pull back to? Straight to the center median line, came lower again, got this dash median line, back up, tested again, and not as strong as the ES and the NASDAQ, right? Although it also had quite a bit of a spike to the upside, breaking above today's pivot point at 33,636. Just had the legs to basically reach R2 at 33,823, falling slightly shy of that median line, and as also just immediately reversed lower again. So it reached R2 and it reached S2. So quite a bit of a daily range, I would say, there on the YM. Might potentially find support here at S2. It just reached the projected range low at 33,410. So this might act as support. Should price break below today's projected range low, it might head back again to this median line, which has been acting as support a few times. And that median line is around 33,350, give or take. So yeah, why I'm not as strong as the ES and the NASDAQ, that's for sure. Russell, I don't even want to look at. It's just an absolute mess. I'm still thinking that what's ever happening here on the Russell could potentially be either a triangle of some sort, maybe an A here, B, C, D, and E. So it could potentially still be doing this sort of sideways movement in quite a very large range, actually, for quite some time more, if it is a triangle. But yeah, good luck figuring out what's going on here. You have nice moves back to the upside, you immediately reversals back to the downside. Very jaggedy sort of price action. So yeah, potentially not the greatest to trade at the moment. Also had a nice spike to the upside. Look how beautifully this projected range high acted as resistance today at 1,785. And the current candle already again reached today's pivot point and almost fell short of today's projected range low at 1,750. So yeah, is it going to go higher? Is it going to go lower? I really don't know. It's just a sideways mess on the Russell. This brings us to gold. Quick recap on gold. We've successfully identified this as a triangle a while back before it actually created that E wave. Also then after the price shot back to the upside, drew in this channel. And since I think, when was this high here, around the 5th of April is when I drew in that channel. And yeah, also very, very nice example of how market geometry or these angles of support and resistance has contained price action ever since. Really, really well. There were areas where price went above this channel line. There were times when price went below it. And, price were even riding this low one, finding support, break below it and move back up again. Where did it move towards? Back to the upper median line, channel line. Strong move lower. And even these areas where price, we call it overshoot or undershoot down here. If you draw a line parallel to the channel line and you project it from those areas where it overshot previously, look where that high came in there. Same story over here. Line parallel to this lower channel line. And if you project it to these areas, in all of these lows, well, you would project it from this one. You had once, twice, 3 times of support stepping in almost perfectly at that angle, and price moved back up from a price sequence sort of phase. We've been counting since the end of February this move higher as a potential wave 1, wave 2. And I was sort of and eyeing, since same thing as I did on the ES, although a different price structure. This was either a 3 that we potentially had a 4 over here, but I've since moved that to this being a 3. And reason being is because after this triangle ended, price made a 3-wave move to new highs instead of what would expect an impulse wave to do a 5-wave move. So I only made 3-wave moves and then down to the downside. So I've been seeing, or actually thinking, that this was just a really messy, what we call an expanded flat correction, where you typically have a 3-wave move to a high. Oh, sorry. So the 3-wave move to the high and a 5-wave move to the downside. However you want to count that, almost like forgetting what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, I've been counting that as a 4th wave. Been thinking if we get a strong break below this lower channel line, that could potentially then mean I was wrong about the count and that a deeper correction would follow. But I think that 5th wave might potentially be in. Even when price moved lower, support at that center channel line, breakdown, and although try to get above it again, look, previously tested it yesterday, moved above it, but couldn't close above it. So this might indicate if price would, let's say, move towards today's projected range low in S2, and maybe even close below those numbers, today's projected range low being at 2021, S2 being at 2019. That would potentially be an early sign if price would move below that correction or deeper correction that we've been waiting for has already probably started, potentially giving us a deeper retracement that might even break finally out of this channel that's been sort of governing or acting as support and resistance for this sort of sideways towards upwards movement in gold. Right, that concludes gold. Finally, crude oil before I hand things over to Craig. Is Craig in the house already? I believe he is. There he is. His name's there. He's waiting in the wings. Crude oil, also a really good sort of example of where we've been following a 5-wave sequence. We expected a correction from there. That didn't happen. Crude oil seen its behind and broke below. When was this? In the beginning of May. Broke below these lows that were set in 20th of March. So I was saying this for a while that, you have a 5-wave sequence, you expect a correction and then to, in this case, make a higher low and then move back up again. That didn't happen. So what it's still, for me, a very clear 5-wave sequence there. So what I was thinking, if I look at the bigger picture here, is that this was also an expanding, since this low, an expanding flat. We have a 3-wave move up, you have a 3-wave move down, and you have a 5-wave sequence. And then you have a strong decline to the downside. Good luck also trying to figure out what all this mess is. Did we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5? Are we then going to move higher? Not 100% sure. Obviously, no one will be 100% sure, but that's also why we obviously follow these sequences and then sort of plan on what the direction might be when such a sequence ends and what to expect afterwards. So since then, crude oil's been bouncing really hard back to the upside. Is this now a correction? Is it going to absorb the strong move that we've had to the downside and just start fluctuating upwards towards sideways for a while longer? I've been saying that if we do see a 5-wave sequence to the upside on the smaller scale, that could be an A wave, maybe a correction lower and another correction back up. Price sort of been struggling to get through the 50% 50 retracement at 73.51, and that's simply just using a 50 retracement from these highs prior to the strong decline to this recent low after price sort of blew off to the downside. So I've been struggling to break above the 50%. I'm viewing this as corrective in nature with potential more upside potential as part of a correction, that should I say. But price at this current candle found support at S1 today at 71.99, trying to make its way above today's pivot point. It's been below a little bit today as well. that pivot point being at 72.88. But I would expect, should price break these highs, that we could potentially see price reach either today or tomorrow, R1 or R2. Again, these numbers will obviously change because they're calculated after, you know, at the end of the day. And we'll have to recap all of these markets tomorrow, see where those levels are, see where prices is in all of these markets. And yeah, see if crude oil will move higher. Is gold going to actually start declining as expected? Is ES finally going to confirm that this was an expanding triangle? We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my analysis for today. Like I said, I have to unfortunately shoot home. I won't be able to listen to you today, Craig. I've got a bit of a mini emergency at home, so I'd have to jump on my bike and wheelie all the way back quickly. But yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, I can still stay on for that. Otherwise, I'll hand things over to Craig, and then he can do his thing.
Roger that. Well, thank you so much, Richard, as always, for the insights.
You're
And
welcome.
we do appreciate you have to jet today. So if we don't have any questions on the first part of today's presentation, we'll let Richard go ahead and take off here, and we'll jump right in with Craig.
Yeah, hey guys. Hey Richard.
Craig.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, it looks like everybody's content in the moment. So let's go ahead and bring you in. Craig, the man, the myth, the legend. As always, we're very excited, very appreciative to have you. So thank you so much for being here. And I know you have some updates for us on your Robot Lab portfolio. We're going to share a link to put the live event later this afternoon on their radar. So all great stuff. Let me get out of your way. Craig, why don't you just go ahead and take the reins, sir?
All right. Thanks, Nate. The man, the myth, the legend. That's too funny. So yeah, I hope everything's all right with Richard. He says he's got an emergency at home. Everything's okay with that. But again, first off, Nate and Richard, thanks for the intro and allowing me to join you guys today to share something here with everyone that we have going on this afternoon. So before I get started, I'm sure Richard's probably already gone over this, but guys, I must remind you that trading does carry significant risk, and all information in this webinar is provided for educational purposes only and is not an offer or a recommendation to trade future stocks, options, or Forex. So if you guys really like what Richard was doing in here and the potential trades that he's going over in here, I really like his analysis. In addition to your own discretionary trading, guys, we've got the perfect thing that will help you scale that, okay? We call it Robot Lab, and it allows you to take everything that you're learning in here in Profits at Noon and scale it, okay? So this afternoon, I'd like to invite you guys to a free live masterclass where you'll learn a uniquely proven way that you can use fully automated day trading systems to go from zero to full-time trading, or if you're already trading full-time, to create another stream of income for yourself, okay? I'll be there. I'm not going to present. The presenter is the guy that is the architect behind Robot Lab. His name is Christian, and you're going to absolutely love him. Now, before I show you my portfolio, let me just give you a sneak peek of what you're going to see Saturday, or not Saturday, this afternoon. I've got Saturday. I've got the weekend on the brain already. So this afternoon, it's going to be about a 60-minute presentation, okay, with some time for Q&A at the end. And here's what Chris is going to actually talk about. Oh, and before I go further, you're actually going to get a free bot if you want one, just for coming, okay? And it's been updated. So what you're going to learn this afternoon, Chris is going to talk about our backwardation certainty secret, okay, and what that even means. So this way you'll know what to expect from an automated trading system. And so this way you can develop trust in the system so you can continue trading it for the long term. That's important. He'll show you how you can slash risk. And risk is a huge issue, not only for myself, but in speaking with other traders. You know, drawdowns are a huge issue, right? Especially if you have a small account. So Chris is going to show you how you can create a portfolio of automated strategies or bots that minimize drawdowns and maximizes profits. Okay. In fact, within the next few slides, guys, I'm going to show you a portfolio that I created. It's made up of 17 bots. It's diversified, and there's low correlation among all of the bots that make up the portfolio. And again, that's the key to minimizing the drawdowns. Okay. I've been running portfolios now for a couple of years, and that honestly is the key to minimizing drawdowns, is diversification and low correlation. Chris is going to show you and discuss with you the #1 automated day trading system mistake that traders make, and he'll show you how to avoid it. This is something that I've had to learn the hard way. And finally, he'll show you 0 to full-time income trading action plan. So you'll learn a step-by-step plan for scaling your portfolio of bots as you build your account over time. And of course, at the end of the webinar, we'll save some time for Q&A so that Chris can get all of your questions answered. Okay. Now, I'm not going to bore you here with all the details. Again, Christian will go over those later in today's class. All right. Now, about that portfolio I was talking about, take a look at this equity curve. Okay. This is from May 6, 2019, when the micros began trading until about a month ago, April 10th, 2023. Okay. Look at these performance metrics. As you can see here, the total net profit is about 102,500. This is just a little over 4 years. Okay. But this is the key. Look at your maximum drawdown. It's only like 2,200. Okay. A little over 2K. Your profit factor is 1.8. All right. It's got a winning percentage of 54% right here, top left. And with the profit factor 1.8, guys, that's almost 2 to 1. Okay. Now, this isn't discretionary trading. These are fully automated strategies. And you can see I've actually got slippage built into it. Okay. Into the back test. All right. Now, I know this is a back test. Okay. But I will show you real-time results in a minute. But I wanted to show you this first so you can see the long-term results. Okay. Now, look at this. This is the historical monthly net profit distribution of this portfolio. It shows you how it's performed. It gives you an idea of what to expect each month. Okay, look at this. You only had really 2 losing months out of 48 right here. Looks like that's probably April of 21. And then more recently, February of 23, right? But for the most part, 2 losing months out of 48. Are you kidding me? So, there are a few break-even months in here at the beginning in 2019. You had, well, actually, it looks like you had a couple break-even months in 2019, December of 2020, July of 2021. But look what happened even in the next year in July of 2022. We had a really good month. So, and again, in February, you can see what happened in January. This is January here. I'm looking at the bottom right corner of the graph. If you can't, you guys should be able to see my cursor. You can see we gave back our gains that we had in January, but look at March. Okay. March made everything back and then some. Okay. And the thing, what happened in February was there were other portfolios that also struggled, and portfolios that were made up of mostly E-mini S&P and NASDAQ 100 bots. They actually took a bigger hit than this. Okay. But like I said, this portfolio is diversified among instruments like crude, gold, E-mini S&P, E-mini NASDAQ, and because those are the micros. We actually have some new bots coming out that will trade on the euro, the micro euro, and Australian dollar and pound, and some currency pairs. But those aren't built into this portfolio. But for the most part, again, just diversifying the portfolio among those 4 instruments, E-mini S&P, NASDAQ, gold, and crude. Okay, you can see here that we took less of a hit in February, and then in March, we made everything back and then some. Okay, so, and if you started this portfolio from the beginning of the year with, for example, like a $10,000 account, you can see here you're still profitable because we made everything back and then some in March. So guys, this is just one of the portfolios that I've created for a 10,000 plus starting account. Okay. We're using optimized bots across different futures contracts, and we're only trading those bots with the least amount of correlation. See the top image here, all the bright green. Okay. This is called a correlation matrix. You can see here that it's lower correlation, it's moderate to low correlation, right? And this portfolio is made up of bots with moderate to low correlation. Okay. And on the correlation matrix below, see all the red in here? Okay. Right in here, here. Those are highly correlated bots, meaning that they take similar trades, right? And this could be great on good days, okay, but really bad on days that they get stopped out, because then you're getting you're getting stopped out in, twice. I mean, trading highly correlated bots is really a double-edged sword. It's like volatility, right? So again, not only are we looking, when we build portfolios, not only are we looking to diversify, but we're also looking to trade optimized bots with low correlation. Okay, this is how we minimize risk. And all in all, in the long run, this provides you with a higher return to drawdown ratio and a much smoother and consistent equity curve. Okay. And as you can see here, I mean, you're going to have winning days and losing days. This is a weekly net profit distribution, right? So again, you're going to have winning days and losing days. Okay. Sometimes even a set of consecutive winning days and losing days. And you'll see that in the upcoming slides. So you will have some losing weeks, just like any profitable strategies. Okay. But if you recall, right, this portfolio really only lost 2 months out of 48. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out. So again, the bots that make up this portfolio, they all have positive expectancy, and the long-term results speak for themselves, more or less. As you can see here, a steady and stable equity curve, right? That minimizes drawdowns. Notice the corrections. Let me get my little pen so I can mark up this chart. Just give me 1 second here. I didn't have that ready to go. So as you can see here, when this portfolio corrects, right, it doesn't really pull back. It just kind of moves sideways. It stagnates for a while before picking up again. Here's a little bit of a correction, right? There's a little correction. But in here, it just stagnated. It went kind of sideways to up, a little bit of a correction there. But notice the corrections are very small, right? Okay. So,
Craig, I'm not sure if you're still with us. It seems like we may be losing you. Maybe it's the signal a little bit. Or maybe I'm the odd man out. Maybe the issues are on my side. If you could fire away in the chat, if anybody else, if you're able to see or hear Craig right now, or perhaps it's just my issue. Currently, I'm not able to hear or see you, Craig. Looks like, okay, Jackie, we did lose him. Okay. So it looks like he's having some sort of connection issue. I'm going to go ahead and just shoot him a note really quickly. There he goes. Yeah. So it looks like he is going to jump back in as soon as he is possibly able here in just a minute. So let me see if I can make sure that that link is available here in the chat for the Robot Lab today. I know some of you are actually already Robot Lab members, which is great. And looks like Craig is back.
I am back.
There he is.
Yeah, I lost my internet there for a second.
All
So
good.
yeah, we recently gotten Spectrum in our area. We're in a rural area, so we only had DSL before Spectrum came in. I mean, I got
Sure.
I've got a modem that runs off the T-Mobile cell towers. So and I've kept that. This is my backup. So now I'm on that. But
Ah,
Spectrum
gotcha.
will go out occasionally because they're still installing it, so they have to cut it and then bring it back on.
Sure.
So that's been happening lately. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I can continue. Want me to continue?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're glad to have you. So we're glad we didn't lose you permanently. So yeah, please keep trucking, sir.
All right. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, guys, yeah, so what I was saying, the key here is just letting the portfolio run. Okay. It doesn't take very long each week, a few minutes each day, if that, right? Enable the bots in the morning. Well, actually, I do it on Sunday, and and then I check on them in the morning, before the market opens, and then I'll check on them throughout the day, and then I'll again in the afternoon after the market closes. I just want to make sure that uh, I'm flat, that I'm protected, that they're doing what they're supposed to, right? That I've got orders in there, I got stop orders in there, and that's the thing. It's like, we will show you how to do all that too. So, but anyways, I more or less I turn them on Sunday, right, and then I leave them running the entire week until Friday. Okay, so there isn't a whole lot to it. All right. Like I said, these are pretty much completely fully automated. But in fact, guys, this is how this portfolio has performed over the last 30 days. So if you guys recall, I showed you this is the back test, right? Through 410, right here. 410, 5-6 through 410. Okay. Now let me show you real-time results. Okay. So this is from 4-9 to 5-9. Okay, 4-9 was Sunday, so it's really 4-10 to 5-9. See here, here's 4-10. That's Monday. Okay, so as you can see here, we're seeing that same consistency in real time, right? That the back test is showing. In fact, over the last 30 days, the cumulative net profit is up over $1,000. Okay. Actually, at one point we hit it's around 1100 back at the beginning of on May 2nd. Had a nice day on May 2nd. But look at April 27th. Okay. It's the portfolio made just over $1,400 in one day. Okay. And like I said, you will have losing days. You can see some losing days in here. And this is just over the last 30 days, but notice what's going on here. Okay. This is cumulative, right? But here's your net profit by day. Notice that the losing days, right, are much smaller than the winning days. Okay. I mean, we will have some small winning days, and sometimes they will exceed it, right? But we will have some big blowout days. Okay. So, and that's the key, is just letting it run. Okay, letting the long-term results and law of averages play out. So, and again, now over the longer run, right, the average profit per month is right here. We're about 2184, about 2100. Now we're not quite there over the last 30 days, but we'll see how May finishes. You can see here sometimes, and I've noticed this on April 27th, notice we had a big day at the end of the month. And I've noticed that sometimes we'll see really big days at the end of the month. So I'm expecting May to be pretty close to, what we average profit per month, especially as we head, in May and June. And then usually July will be, well, except last year. I mean, last year was a pretty good month in July, about 20, about average. But there are some, but usually July, summer months are a little bit lower. But look at June in 2020, right? And you can see June in 2022 was a little bit lower. June in 2021, it's a little bit lower. As we head into the summer months, things kind of settle down. And but we're getting ready, after the second quarter, usually third and fourth quarter are really good quarters. That's when the market will start to trend and whatnot. So in a nutshell, the average profit per month of this portfolio is about 2,100. Okay. And then I know that may not seem like a lot of money, right? But guys, keep in mind, it only takes a few minutes each day. Okay. You don't have to spend hours in front of the computer. And this is from trading only one micro. Okay. On all these bots. Okay. But there's two of them that trade multiple contracts because they don't trade very often. So it just makes sense to trade multiple contracts on those two bots because when you do that, it doesn't add anything to the drawdown and it only increases the net profit because they don't trade very often and they have a very high percentage. But again, they look for quality trades. They don't trade very often. So and the other thing is it's scalable. Okay, so let's say that you doubled your position size on all these bots. Okay, so instead of averaging around $2,100 per month or $2,200, you're looking around $4,200 to $4,400 per month. And if you tripled it, right, then you'd be averaging around $6,300 to maybe $6,600 per month. Okay, so see what I mean here? All right. In fact, here's the yearly net profit distribution. Last year, this portfolio made about 33K, almost 33K, trading just, again, a minimum position size with a drawdown of just over 2,000. Okay. Now, imagine if you had position size this portfolio based on a larger account size. In fact, some of our clients are doing just that. We've got several Robot Lab members in the 17 bot portfolio, and we've got several that are trading a 16 and 15, and we've got some new bots coming out. I've already got a 22 bot portfolio for that, and we've got some new bots coming out, and when those come out, then obviously we'll be sharing some additional portfolios to go with that, with those additional bots in there. So, but what I'm trying to get at is that some of the guys already that are Robot Lab members, they're reaping the benefits of it. Okay. So guys, if this looks like something that you'd like to learn more about and start scaling your discretionary trading with automated trading and potentially create another income stream for yourself, then I would encourage you to join us this afternoon, 4:15 Central or Eastern, 3:15 Central. Yeah, I was just checking the chat to see if make sure Nate posted that. Thanks, Nate. I appreciate that. And in fact, one of Christian's portfolios made just over 24K so far this month. And in this free live master class, he'll show you the trade performance so you can see all the performance metrics, all the details in there. And he'll show you how you potentially can do it too. Think about this. Even if you just traded micros, because he trades the full E-mini, right? But even if you just traded the micros using his same portfolio, right? Now, which is, it's more boss than I trade, right? But if you traded the micros with his portfolio, that would have been about $2,400, okay? Roughly 1/10 the size of this. It's not perfect, but it's roughly, right? Which should be a little bit, about double the portfolio that I'm trading, okay? So, and again, just for joining us, guys, you get a free robot, okay? And actually, we've updated the robot. It's a newer robot. So, and if you're on the fence, I'll be honest with you, at first I was skeptical about automated trading. So, because like Nate and Richard, I'm a discretionary trader, and probably like most of you guys in here. But then I started trading a few robots, in another live account, and I started to see the results, actually positive results, okay? And results that, for the most part, actually matched back tested results. So now I've got a handful of bots that I turn on once a week. I check on them every morning. Again, I already went through this. I check on them at the end of the trading day just to make sure they're flat. It only takes a few minutes each day, okay? And one of the things that you do want to keep in mind, though, again, not every day is a winner. I've shown you that, but overall, these portfolios are making money, okay? So, guys, with a portfolio of algo bots like this, you can create for yourself another stream of income, that only takes a few minutes each day, okay? So is there anyone in here that wouldn't mind having another stream of income that only takes a few minutes each day right? Of course there are. If you do, and or just want to learn more about fully automated day trading systems, then join us this afternoon at 4:15 Eastern, right? 3:15 Central, and I'll see you there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Now, do you guys have any questions for me about what we talked about?
Sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, Craig. We always look forward to these updates on the Robot Lab portfolio, so very much appreciated. And it's always good to have you. It's good to see you. Yeah, like
Yes.
Craig said, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to fire away in the chat. Look, we got Thomas here is actually got one for you now, Craig.
Thomas, how do we claim the free bot? Yeah, join us this afternoon. Okay, everyone who attends free training stays to the end, and then yeah, join us this afternoon. I'm sure you'll learn a lot.
Perfect.
So if anything, it'll get you to look at automated strategies differently. And Christian will talk about that, where, instead of just one or two automated strategies, as you can see, in this portfolio, it's about a portfolio of strategies and having several bots running at the same time, diversified, low correlated, on different instruments, right? So they take advantage, because sometimes when the indices are going sideways, gold and crude may be trending. Or if the indices are trending, if gold and crude are going sideways, then the indices may be trending. So it's always good to have that diversification and low correlation in there in your portfolios.
Fantastic. Well, it looks like we do have a question coming through over on the simulcast on YouTube. For a reason is the username. He wants to know, or he or she, I apologize, can you use Autobot on a valuation account?
Can you use Autobots on like a Apex or something like that? Yes, you can. One thing you want to be careful with is our drawdowns. Because the issue, I mean, you got to be real selective with your portfolio, and the largest max trailing stop drawdown that you can get would be the best way to go, because those evaluation accounts like Apex and whatnot, they base their max trailing stop drawdown based on unrealized gains. Okay, so as the market's moving in your favor, even though you're not taking profits off the table, your maximum trailing stop drawdown is moving higher, right? So and some of these bots, they will hold on to trades to look for bigger gains, right? So they will give the trades room to work. So there may be, a move up, a little bit of correction in there, right? So for example, you may see you're in a trade, right? You're in a trade here, price is doing this. You're in a trade, you see price do this, right? And they'll hold on to these pullbacks like this. But your max trailing stop drawdown will continue to move up as you make new equity highs. And so that's the only thing you want to be careful with. But we have portfolios that you can try that minimize drawdowns. But again, it's a little bit more of a challenge. But we have some folks doing it, and we have some folks that have passed evaluations with the automated strategies. Again, the key is getting as large as possible max trailing stop drawdown. I know they have options. I think the bottom is like 2,500. They have, I know of a couple folks, we've got portfolios set up for them, and we help them come up with a portfolio, and they've set up like a 4,500 max trailing stop drawdown, and they're fine. So yeah, that's the key. So I hope that helps.
Got it. Yes. No, that's incredibly valuable insight, Craig. Thank you. And it was a great question too. I'm glad that we were able to cover that off. So, it's possible. It's not impossible, but certainly special considerations, some planning are definitely going to be involved. So
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, please feel free to fire away, whether you're over there on YouTube on the simulcast, you're here in Zoom with us. Please fire away if you have any more questions for Craig before we wrap up today. Again, just want to encourage you one more time to hit that link. If you haven't been able to check out one of these Robot Lab sessions yet, if you're not yet a member, we'd love to have you after market close in today's live event.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And we got a For a Reason says thanks over on YouTube. So it seems that Craig, that did do the trick for him. So thank you again.
Oh, awesome. Good deal.
Excellent.
Great.
Well, outside of all that, the other thing I look forward to most when we're here is of course, torturing you with a new dad joke.
Oh, yeah.
So I think,
I didn't get the one from last week, Nate.
you know,
I mean, I don't remember. I think you're going to send it over, and I didn't get it.
oof, you
You
know,
have to send me that.
I'll
when
have
we're
to
done.
remember which one it was actually. Jackie may know. Jackie has been keeping tabs. I have a feeling. So yeah, we'll just segue right into that very quickly here. If you're new to these sessions, we like to have a little fun just in the last minute here. We'll share our best cheesy joke, or what we call dad jokes, usually a terrible pun of some kind. So in the spirit of following up and doing updates, like on your Robot Lab portfolio, I figured we revisit an older dad joke and have a follow-up to that. So today we're going to revisit one of our first dad jokes in these sessions, and one of my favorites. Some of you may remember it. We'll just quickly cover it off. And it was, why did the Scarecrow win an award? So some of you may remember the answer to this one. This isn't the main one today. We are revisiting, so I'll quickly fire that answer off. The Scarecrow won an award because he was outstanding in his field.
Oh my God.
Which, again, one of my favorites. But today's dad joke will be a follow-up to that one. So we know he won an award because he was outstanding in his field, but what did the Scarecrow have to say about his job?
What did the Scarecrow have to say about his job?
Yes, what did he say about his job?
What did the Scarecrow have to say about his job? You stumped me.
All right, well, get ready. You're really seeing the text is going to help here. This job isn't for everyone, but hey, it's in my genes.
Oh my God, I love it. That's funny.
So you get a double.
I love it. I would have to save that for my 16-year-old girls. Their eyes would roll.
Well, ideally, their eyes roll so far into the back of their head at one point after you hit them with the second punchline. By the end of it, they're just outright disgusted.
Yeah. But when they were little, five or so years ago, they would die laughing, right? And
Yeah. Now they're too cool.
now it's like, seriously?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, everyone is now well armed and equipped to make someone else roll their eyes today, so please feel free to do so. But one more time, just want to thank everybody for your attendance today. We'll thank Richard. Richard had to shoot earlier, him for the fantastic analysis always. All of our attendees for joining us, our regular crew, some of the new faces. It's great to have you. To anyone joining us on YouTube, check the link below the video. You can join us here directly in the Zoom sessions. We'd love to have you. Outside of that, of course, we will be back for the final Profits at Noon session of the week tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So Richard will be back in the house with the final updates on our levels to lock. So please join us for that. And in the meantime, if any other questions, anything comes up, you think of something that maybe you weren't able to ask in today's session, please feel free to head over to the website. That phone number is plastered all over the site. We also have a contact form if you'd like to reach out via email. We're always here and happy to help. So thank you again. Thank you so much, Craig. Everybody have a great rest of your week in the meantime. And parting wisdom, Craig, before we pull the plug?
You know what? The one thing I go by with trading is that the chart tells a story, and it's our job to learn the story of the chart and just blend with the market. Don't try to beat it. You're not going to beat it. Just blend with the market.
Perfect. Love it. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.